FM.
Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes, is presented by Underwood Jewelers and American Window Products on 1010XL. Now your hosts,
Lauren Brooks,
Donna Murphy, and Blythe Brumley.
Welcome into Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes. My name is Blythe Brumley, and we have Lauren Brooks off tonight, but Donna Murphy is here, and so is Tyler Devitt, soon to be stepping in just a few seconds. And kicking off tonight's show, we wanted to get a little bit into the big Jaguars news that was just released yesterday. For the first time in a decade, the team is raising season ticket prices, but they've also announced a few more additions. What they're doing is they're removing the tarps, which is huge news, and they're getting new uniforms, and some of the concessions around the stadium are being offered for $5 a piece.
That's awesome.
Like nachos and burgers and hot dogs, some of the more, I guess, sort of stereotypical stadium food, I reckon. Right. But they made all of these announcements yesterday, and I wanted to know, what's the most exciting thing that you think that they announced, and what do you think was not needed?
I think the tarps. That has to be, because it's everyone was so excited about it in the playoffs. You finally, you got rid of them. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't know you had to get league approval for that.
I didn't know that either.
No, I didn't know, which I wish all of the national media would have known that. That would have been nice instead of just making fun of us. But I am so excited about that, and to know that about 7 times the amount of people are clamoring for season tickets than have been last year. Those seats will be filled. Mm-hmm. And I'm not big on social media. I'm not. But I like to skim through, and whenever there's a Jag story, I like to click on it and just read the thread. And I see some people out there talking about, so what? They can remove the tarps just to have empty seats? That's ridiculous. Just then stop. Why are you commenting? Just stop.
It's still sort of the low-hanging fruit of the franchise, and I think league-wide, despite other teams, even taking seats out of their stadium, like what the Redskins have done. I think they've taken close to 10,000 seats out of their stadium to avoid, putting tarps on the Oakland Raiders, or now the Las Vegas Raiders. They had tarps all over their seats, essentially covering part of one of the complete upper decks. But the Jaguars always seem to be the brunt of those jokes as far as tarps are concerned. But for me, the tarps news, but besides getting new uniforms, which I think the helmet is desperately needed to be redesigned. Mm-hmm. But outside of that, the tarp news was really sort of, I guess, a pivotal change for the franchise, in a sense that when the tarps were first put on, it was seen as an economical decision. It was seen as a way to keep the Jaguars in Jacksonville because of the large stadium, the small market, that
sponsorship
stadium
on it.
Right. And with the Everbank as a whole, it was really built for the attendance of the Florida-Georgia game, which they have to actually add extra seats in. It wasn't really built for an NFL market. And so to see the franchise sort of go through putting the tarps on, being the brunt of jokes, we're moving to London, we're moving to LA, and then to see the progression of the franchise, to see where it's going now, it's sort of incredible. I feel like this is, and I've said this on the show before, that this is a 30 for 30 waiting to happen, in my opinion.
And you saw what they did in the playoffs, and you have the feeling of what this team could be, over the next decade. And did it make you finally realize, thank you, we are a relevant franchise? Did it make you feel like that?
When they removed the tarps, I think it was long overdue, but it didn't make me. I want to say the playoff performance overall and the energy within the city made me feel more like an NFL franchise. Like, this is what it's supposed to feel like. But with the tarp removal, it was just sort of a given decision. I don't know why the NFL seems to have these archaic rules that if you would think that it would be in the best interest of the entire league for them to remove the tarps sooner rather than later.
You would think. I mean, unless there's more stipulations that we don't know about, dealing with, it's going to really look bad on the league if you don't have people in those seats, so you got to leave them tarp. I don't know what the rule is, but I enjoy it. Now, the thing that I didn't think need to happen was the changing of the price to $5. I was just taken aback, and I love the idea.
Right.
I just
the stadium.
It wasn't something I would have put on the list of things to do.
Yeah, it's sort of, because to me, in my opinion, with the food last year, it would sort of went a little bit of a downgrade as far as the regular concessions. Now, there's specialty food concessions all throughout the stadium, and the specialty spots have the best food. That sometimes you'll have the best meal in town in those certain areas of the stadium, but the rest of the stadium sort of leaves a lot to be desired because it's just regular stadium food. So
right.
It's your standard nachos, your standard burgers, things like that, but it's so much more readily available than the special places where you can find that really great food. What a lot of noise that was being made on social media was the price increase for
right.
the season tickets, and a lot of fans were complaining that, this is the first year that we've essentially had a winning season, but prices are going to be raised by 10% for a lot of the season ticket holders. And it got me wondering, is this a little too soon for a price increase?
I don't think so, especially because you're going to take the tarps off. I think it's something that you need to do. It is a necessity. But to take a look back, and they haven't raised their ticket prices
in a decade.
Yeah. So you can't be mad if they do it once every 10 years. You got to sit back and be like, all right, we kind of have it made here. We enjoy it here. Because everywhere else you will see, and you don't even have a personal seat license. You don't even have to pay for that.
But it is on the invoice, so
right.
I feel like it's coming.
Right, and I wouldn't doubt it. Shad Khan's a shrewd businessman. He knows when he can make some money.
Right, it's all about supply and demand, and,
right.
and according to a 2016 study by Statista, they said the Jaguars had the cheapest fan cost index in the league, meaning for a family of four to go to a game, they have the cheapest prices available, and the average price across the NFL was $502, but the Jaguars average around $367. Mm-hmm. So it's still, you're still saving money. It's a bit of a price increase because when I got my season ticket renewal email, I clicked on it to just go ahead and just get the renewal done like I do each season. And then I looked at the price, I was like, that's not right. And it was before I read all of the news, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense.
Right.
That's fine.
Now, with it though, as a season ticket holder, do you get any extras?
You get a little packet right before the season starts, and it's usually like a schedule magnet. You maybe get some free golf, and then you also get teal deals. And the teal deals
right.
are something that I always forget to use because they expire on February 8th. Mm-hmm. So I had to haul out last week on the last day that they were accepting them, and I went to Daly's Place, I went to Bono's, I went to Dreamette. I had to try to use up all of these different teal deals before they were, essentially, because I feel like during the season it's so busy that you
right.
don't really even think about using them.
But in the past, teal deal packs haven't been that great. They've been it's a nice offer, it's a nice incentive, but it's like, okay, but this year when we looked through it, I was like, wow, these are actually really good. I will take this, and yes, I will buy one burger and get one free. Thank you. I enjoy something like
There's
that.
a lot of really good. And I didn't really look until it got close to the expiration date. So sorry if you guys haven't used any of your teal deals yet because it's already too late. But usually those are mailed out in August. So
yes,
I say every year. Yeah, I'd say every year I have plenty of time to be able to use them from August to February, and then it's the last week of February, and I'm scrambling like a mad woman. Now, one of the other things that is sort of a little bit more controversial, I think, is the Jaguars trademarked the phrase Duval. So the infamous chant that you sort of hear all over the place, and it really gained a lot of popularity this past season with the Jaguars making the playoff push. So you heard rumors of fans yelling out the chant in Pittsburgh, out in New England, and it got, when I first saw that they trademarked the phrase, I said, but you don't own it. You didn't create it. And you only recently embraced it. So do you think this is a good move by the Jaguars?
I think it's brilliant.
You do?
I think it is so brilliant because no one has trademarked it. So whoever wants to claim it, it's too late. You didn't claim it, or you pretended to claim it, whether it be a DJ, whether it be the brigade, whoever wants to try to claim it, it's too late now. You can't. Because like I said before, Shad Khan, he is a shrewd businessman. Now they know they own this, and they are going to make a whole lot of cash with this. And every time it's said, when number one, when the draft pick is picked this year, and he goes up there and says it, It's just money in the bank to them. Like,
See, I don't like it. They didn't come up with it. They only recently embraced it. And this is something that has been a part of the community for years and years. I can remember being 19 and having a couple of my friends say, okay, well, if you're at a party, or if you're, obviously I was underage at the time, but if you're out at a bar or a party and someone yells the Duval chant, you yell it back and you raise your glass to it.
Now, explain the origin, because I'm actually
no one knows.
I know
the origin.
The origin, it started during a Rains-Reball game, high school football game, and Miami-Dade County was in town, and they were playing against them, I believe, and it was a Dade versus Duval thing. And so that's where the Duval chant sort of originated, and then Eazy-E, which is a local DJ here in town, he's the one that really got the word out. So Eazy-E doesn't own it, Bold City Brigade doesn't own it. I don't think that they've ever tried to own it. It's just always been part of like the Jacksonville culture.
You're late to the party then. Look, when has the Duval really been embraced other than this past season?
It's been embraced by fans, by hardcore Jaguar fans for more than a decade. And not even necessarily Jaguar fans. It's just been a rallying cry really for the city to really, where are you from? Duval.
Right, but in other than like the hardcore fans, like because Jacksonville was put on the map, the Jaguars were put on the map this past season, it really skyrocketed and really took off. So whether or not, Shad Khan's not stupid. So whether or not he really knew about how important the chant was before this past season, I don't know. But he saw what it can do. And the same thing with Saxonville. They embraced
Saxonville,
that.
I'm okay with them trademarking. But the Duval chant doesn't belong to the Jaguars. It belongs to the residents of Duval County, of Jacksonville.
You're welcome to say it as many times as you want, but you're not making money off it.
I'm just going to have to use a bunch of more U's in it, because the Duval one that they trademarked had 3 U's in it.
Would you be okay if, say, Eazy-E trademarked it? Even though he didn't start it?
No, I would not. I would not be okay with anybody trademarking it. I would
why?
Because it's a city thing. It's a city pride thing.
And you should be proud that this is trademarked.
But why does it have to be trademarked?
Because someone's going to make money off that.
Why do they have to make money off of a rallying cry?
Protect them in the future from legal reasons. I don't know what they would be protecting themselves from.
Right.
But they could use it in future marketing campaigns.
Oh yeah, it's all about merch, man. They're going to make money off that merchandise.
But use it in the merchandise. Why do you have to trademark it? Why do you have to claim possession of something that isn't yours?
Sell T-shirts with Duval all over it. Yeah. They are.
Well, I'm just going to be buying T-shirts with an extra A or an extra L in it or something.
And they might have seen a lot. We had some of those teal towels that were here, and they say Duval and stuff. People just making stuff. So now it's like, well, you can't unless you're changing it. You're going to spell it normal or however it's going to be. So
it makes me uncomfortable that the team only recently embraced this, and now they're claiming it as their own when they never created it. And it's not a Jaguars thing. It's a Duval thing. It's a city of Jacksonville thing.
Look, even though I live in Nocatee, I live in a small part of Duval. There's like one little thumbprint, and it's still Duval. But it doesn't. I'm not one of the type of people that it hurts my feelings if I was in St. John's.
Yeah, there's a lot of people making a fuss about that too.
Yeah, these county people, I don't know what you're thinking. I don't get it. I don't see how they're gonna sit there and kind of chant every single county. You know how big Jacksonville is.
You cannot. No, you cannot.
Can't do that.
And if you're a Jaguar supporter, you don't have to live in Jacksonville. You can live in other parts, and that's sort of the same thing with the Duval call. You don't have to live in Duval to make that sort of rallying cry. So I don't know. It bothered me. What about you, Tyler? Did it bother you as much?
It doesn't bother me at all, and obviously you guys know I'm not from here. I'm an outsider, but I love the Duval chant. I'm from Chicago, and there's nothing like that. You can go around saying "the Bears," but the Duval thing's only here, and it's so original, and it came on. I do agree with Donna that it really did some rocket to popularity last year with the team. Obviously, the national media picked it up and loved it, but it's originally here, and I think it's probably a legal thing, although you don't want them to see making money off something that's fan created.
And that was my big point. Is I saw the little TM by the Duval chant, and that's what I was like, wait, this doesn't belong to you. It belongs to all of us. So if you're going to try and attempt to make money off of this, I'll just throw an extra you in there, or I'm sure the Jaguars are a smart organization. They can probably add a few different trademarks in there. But I didn't like it. I liked all the other announcements. I'm okay with the price increase. I'm definitely more than fine with new uniforms, especially a new helmet and the tarps getting out of here. But we are going to head to break right now, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Jaguars. We're going to talk more about the Colts and a little bit of the Patriots. This is Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes.
1010XL brings you Jacksonville's most play-by-play coverage.
Sorry.
This is head coach Tony
How are
Jackson.
you?
Almost not my damn camera.
Listen live as we face
Welcome to YouTube.
in Jacksonville. It's switching to days
Hey.
Thursday.
What's up? What is this?
1010.
Wing.
Winter is here.
Buffalo sauce, right?
Windows could be
I
costing
love
you money
sauce.
and higher electric
Buffalo
bills.
sauce, and I'll mix
American
them with
window
the blue
products
cheese
can
and
replace
everything.
your old windows
You really
with
did have to do
energy-efficient
this.
Eastern architectural
Oh,
solutions and save
but
you
I'll
money
definitely
that's slipping
take
through the
these.
cracks. And as a
This is my
1010XL
favorite. I
listener,
love
you'll
this.
get a free energy-saving glass package. Find out all about it at AmericanWindowProducts.com or call 731-2247.
Did you get your flowers?
They're in the
Okay.
room.
Oh, I saw the
We're here
picture
for
of
the
them. I haven't
crab,
seen it yet.
crab
You know
ups.
that
You know what
they're
February
not
means?
red.
Time for the Mardi Gras
Okay.
menu.
And the balloons?
Use out. How
Four
does
different
black and
balloons.
fish bowl
Yeah.
boy
Don't
sound?
say
How
I
about
love
fried
you.
shrimp?
So I got no problem with husband, boyfriend, significant other.
You-
I
Tell
had
me it's an
shrimp
old guy with
So
hot
you
sauce.
did great. You
don't
did
have
you
any
did. You don't
problems.
have to do this,
What
but
do
we
you
certainly
drink
appreciate
specials
it.
as
So give
well
Michelle
in the
Quinn
month
the
of
building
February.
before.
I'll see
We
you
did.
at the
Okay,
Blue
yeah.
Crab
I
House.
thought maybe the Alyssa girl was coming. I wanted to make sure she had some when she was
That's
here.
so sweet.
Yeah,
of
she
you.
didn't. I don't think she couldn't do the show
Kevin
tonight for some
Kaplan.
reason.
Yeah,
So-
Chris
Head
had
team
the
physician
night off,
for your
or
Jacksonville Jaguars.
she got sent
Baptist
somewhere,
Health
or
and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute
something.
are the
But
team
she had-
behind
yeah,
your
she had
team,
worked tonight.
serving as the
Well,
official
thank you,
sports
Dad.
medicine provider for the Jacksonville Jaguars. JOI offers a complete range of orthopedic care and rehabilitation services to keep the Jaguars on the field and in the
Thank
game.
you.
Heck yeah,
Treat
that's
yourself
smart.
like the pros and visit JOI.net or call JOI 2000 for more
Jimerson
information.
& Cobb is a Florida-based commercial law firm striving to exceed client expectations through commitment to excellence
Okay.
and
Gonna be
adding
cold.
value to
Make
your
sure you don't have
business.
anything Patriots
Learn more
on
about
you.
what they
They
can
wanna
do
go
for
to
you
snow.
at JimersonCobb.com.
Well, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Do you own a
Yeah,
truck?
you got
Hopefully
that.
they've cleaned up the city
There's
after.
one name to know. Cat.
Thank you. Happy Valentine's.
Trailer hitch. At Catlin, we do it all. This is Keith Catlin. We know
Got
trucks.
my
Need
face
a
box.
toolbox? Come see the cam locker. Need format?
Hey.
We carry WeatherTech. At Catlin, we carry
Stan
quality
knows.
products at a great
I love how
price.
he knows our
Come see
favorite
us
food.
today or
Yeah.
call us at 354
Did you see,
8521.
Did you see what Philly fans did to a car with
Established in
Patriot stuff on
1990,
it?
you can count on Catlin.
Dude, they broke his window and they trashed it with green paint.
Oh,
Broke his side window and his back window.
damn.
And threw green paint inside the car and all out.
Wonderful job. They're located in the
Like,
St. Nicholas area.
you
Town
won.
right across
Why
Right.
do you have to act that way?
Right.
And so someone on the social media was like, imagine if they lost, how they would be treating you. I'm like, dude, I don't.
They would disappear because that's exactly what happened during the Super Bowl here. Because I was working a beer tub at
And
the.
just shrivel and
Well, no, they all went home. That's all. They all went home, and they said they were going to burn the city to the ground.
you hold it and push the door. Hold it down and push it. Yeah. Nope, not pushing. Same time. Thank you.
Yeah, I was working beer tub, and the fans came over, and they said, were you born in Jacksonville? I said, yeah. And they said, okay, well, if we lose this game, we're going to burn your city to the fucking ground. And I said, oh, shit. No, but they all cleared out. It would have been really good for the city if they would have won. Because there was a lot more.
Then they would have destroyed it.
Yeah, probably. Because that was my first thought is, well, damn, the Patriots won, and there was like 10-1, like fan ratio, and the Patriots obviously all their fans were hanging out and partying. No damages though.
No damage stuff. You know when they were talking about it? Like fan bases that damage. No one brought up Vancouver. Remember when the Bruins beat Vancouver in Vancouver? And Vancouver fans lit stuff
Did
on
your
fire,
homeowner's
flipped
insurance company
cars.
contact you before,
I'm
during,
like,
or after
dang,
Hurricane
no.
Irma? If not,
Canadians
then it's
do
time for
take
you
their
to
hockey
contact
Oh, yeah,
very,
right.
very
Find us online
seriously.
at
But also, I
southernoaks.com.
remember that distinct. I don't remember the match, but I remember we beat them and the fans went off.
That between that and hockey, the Olympics.
Yeah.
Like if Canada loses to like the U.S. and like juniors or in the Olympics, they burn their cities to the ground. I'm only trying to burn stuff if we win. I'm not trying to burn stuff if we lose.
That's what I'm saying. Like, why are we still acting this way?
That's
know how to act.
McGowan's Heating and Air Conditioning.
I can say act like you've been there before, but they haven't.
License number
But I mean, it's not even that. Like, you're acting like you lost and you hate us. Why? You won. Why are you yelling at
that?
Like, why are you hating on me?
That's super wrong. To throw paint on I mean, you have to get a new car.
Yeah.
That's it.
Valentine's Day Diamond event.
The guy,
February
one of the guys
1st
goes,
Like,
through
thanks
the
for a new
1st.
car.
insurance money and get a new car.
Yeah,
off
hopefully.
any diamond when you buy her setting at
Maybe
Jared
get them on
Let
security
our expert
cameras,
jewelers
sue
help you
them.
find or create the one
And so
ring
obviously they do.
only be for her.
The whole,
That's why he went to
this is
Jared.
what happens when you wear Patriot stuff. I'm like, no, that's not what happens. Apparently this is what happens when you're an Eagles fan. That's more correct to the saying. I don't have a Patriot thing on my car, but I have a Red Sox. I've never been treated like dirt.
Jaguars football by women, for women, and men. Helmets and heels. Built by Dreamfinders Homes.
Presented by Underwood Jewelers and American Window Products.
On 1010 XL, 92.5 FM.
Welcome back to Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes. This song was in the movie Sing. Did you ever see Sing?
No.
Did you ever see Sing, Tyler?
No.
Is that almost like a Pixar movie?
Yeah, it's Illumination,
What's Illumination?
which Minions.
Oh, okay.
It's that type. But it's it's fantastic. Matthew McConaughey as a koala bear,
I was
and they
gonna
all
say,
have
I've
a
seen
singing
the previews,
contest.
but I've never seen the movie.
It's so great, but this song's in it, and I'm just picturing the scene because I've watched it 1,000 times because Little Man loves it. But I gotta admit, I love it. I will ask him, and the soundtrack is fantastic. And I will ask him to play it all the time.
I do remember it having a lot of really good music on it.
Yeah, it
at least
does.
in the preview.
Yeah, it did, and it does. All right, let's talk some Colts because
My pleasure.
we know what went down, and we broke it because it happened during the show.
Oh, it was so
last
great.
Tuesday, right?
So great. I loved laughing at that franchise live on air.
McDaniel's going a complete 180, saying, you know what, I don't want to be part of this disorganization, which is what I would call it because they're disorganized.
Why
and-
he even entertained the idea baffled me.
Right, and it has to be, obviously we said, I guess, his agent is the same agent for the general manager. So they know each other, and they've known each other for a while. But I don't blame him for this because I saw what Belichick did to the Jets and said, I don't want this job. Bye.
But why even interview for it if you're not going to seriously take it?
Right, and a lot of that has to deal with, they thought, it has to deal, I would imagine, all the chaos that went down with New England. And, okay, so Belichick's going to do one more year and then hand the reins over to Josh. That's what it appears. So
he should have chose the Titans. If he had to choose between the Colts, but I guess...
I agree with you. I agree with you there. I don't know why the Titans weren't in the mix.
That's arguably why they fired Mike Mularkey. Is it so that they could go after Josh McDaniels? You have a better quarterback situation. You have a better organizational structure, and he still chose the Colts. And then maybe it was a long play. Maybe it was a long play to try to screw the Colts.
So it was enjoyable as the GM did the press conference, and they have since hired also obviously the former coordinator for the Eagles as their new head coach. But when he did the press conference, he quoted, "The rivalry is back on," and just walked off the set.
Which I thought was a great drop the mic moment. I don't particularly care for the Colts organization, but GM's drop the mic moment was awesome.
It was.
People make decisions. People tell people no every day. And that's his prerogative, and that's his
hey, psst, Colts, why don't you do this? That's I officially blame Harbaugh and the Ravens, because no one's ever blame them, but it was a bad loss.
I do remember them being tied together, that it was between those two games, and it was the Ravens that sort of gave the heads up in order for other teams to take notice, and the Colts were just the ones that fell for it and snitched.
So Andrew Luck has come out and heard it, and he's excited about the rivalry being back on.
Is he going to play?
But the problem with Luck is it was last week I said he hasn't even picked up a football. They said he's thrown a ball, not a football. They said he hasn't picked up a football yet, but he's thrown a ball. Now, it could be a Nerf ball. It could be a tennis ball. We don't know what the ball is. So I don't know how this is going to affect his off-season training, if he even can. I don't even know when he's going to be a quarterback.
They don't know when he's going to come back. They've said, as far as the season is concerned, last season they said Andrew Luck, absolutely. Jim Irsay, the Colts owner, said that he was going to be ready for the season to start. And then that was obviously a lie. And he was going to be ready for training camp. He was going to be ready for the season. All of those were either lies, or Jim Irsay was just misinformed or didn't know the health status of his own quarterback. And so with this year, with anytime Jim Irsay says anything about the Colts, I don't believe him. I think he's a basket case.
I mean, when your quarterback goes over to Europe to get help and get fixed, or so-called treatment, I mean, what does that say for your own organization if he's not?
That's what I'm saying.
And I say that, and I know Brady doesn't do anything with the medical staff. He has his own guy, but at least at least everybody's on the same page. I don't know, but what were your thoughts when he did the rivalry back on it?
I liked it, because I do, out of the entire Colts organization, I do really like Andrew Luck, and I do really like their GM, just because I think their GM is a really smart guy outside of choosing the Colts organization to work for. I do think that he is really smart, and he's going to try to build up that roster, and he's going to attempt to, because obviously if not, then he's going to be fired. But to me, the funniest part about all of this is after they announced the hiring of the Eagles OC, Frank Wright, I think is his name, a lot of fans weren't believing it. They didn't believe the actual news until the Colts sent out a picture of him signing the contract, and then they still didn't believe it, because when they didn't believe it, they had somebody, it was either the GM or Irsay, hold up a newspaper from that day in order to verify that he had signed the contract and he was indeed hired. So I thought that was a really good play.
As a Colts fan, what do you have to be thinking? I mean, you have to absolutely, yes, the rivalry is back on, and I can't stand New England.
Oh, definitely, because they've always thought, because I've spoken to other Colts fans in the past, especially over the history with the Jaguars rivalry, on who they hate the most and who they sort of circle on the calendar, and it's always the Patriots and it's always the Jaguars. This goes back to like the Peyton Manning days, when the Jaguars when really the Jaguars, anytime they were doing any kind of winning whatsoever, it was beating up on the Colts.
Yeah, because that Peyton Brady rivalry is very good, and that was always a match that we would look at. Plus, they would see each other every year, just because they would finish first and they would finish.
But it can't get any worse than what it's been over the past year. I mean, you don't know if your starting quarterback is coming back. Your entire roster is a mess. You don't have a deep threat. You don't have a running game. Your GM is arguably the brightest spot on in your entire franchise, because your owner is a basket case. I don't know how else they get. It doesn't get much worse than what it already has been.
I agree. So going to the Colts rivalry, there was a story that came out. The Boston Herald actually posted this story that Brady will sit out of OTAs if he does not get so-called Garoppolo money. Because we heard Garoppolo get his enormous contract, which bravo to him, and bravo to Lynch paying up and getting him with that. So comes out that when I heard this, I didn't believe this at all, because never, ever, ever has Brady threatened to sit out. All Brady ever does is take pay cut after pay cut after pay cut. That's what he does. He will restructure, because he makes millions everywhere else, but his wife makes millions. That doesn't matter.
He just wants to win, really.
He just wants to win. So it came out that, yes, it was a hoax of a story. Now, the Boston Herald is pretty well known. There's the Globe and the Herald. That's it up in New England.
And is it one of them more, I guess, tabloidy than the other?
Not really.
No?
No. They're really good.
Really well
Yeah.
respected, I guess.
Yes, they are. And but I have noticed in the past that the Globe has spun more anti-Patriot stories than they have of any other group. They won't say anything bad about the Bruins or the Celtics or the Sox even. But for some reason, they will happily post anything anti-New England Patriots. So the Boston Herald, once it came out that this was a hoax, it was because the person that wrote it thought he was getting this from
Who was it? Ron Borges.
Yeah, he thought he was getting it from Brady's agent himself, Don Yee. And no, it was a fake Don Yee.
Was it a Twitter DM or was it a text message?
I want to say it's a text message because he said it was a viable source. So someone must.
Ron Borges posted his number on Twitter, and some Patriots fan texted him and acted like it was Don Yee, and he bought it. He texted Ron Borges for a month straight.
And
so it was a long con.
Never talked to him on the phone. I mean, didn't have his number saved in his contacts, obviously, but he's like, oh, yeah, we go way back, long-time old friend Ron, what's going on? And Ron Borges is an idiot. He bought the whole thing. So.
And he didn't, what you're normally, I'm not I guess a traditionally trained journalist, but you're supposed to always get at least two sources in order to verify, in order to run with it.
Right.
And it's sort of...
it would be nice if it's someone you actually met.
Right. Or at least spoken to on the phone, maybe save their number in your phone. To me, it's his own dang fault.
It is.
Because he didn't verify anything. He just ran with the story, and it sort of speaks, I guess, more so to today's culture in the media that people are so hungry to be first instead of to be right.
Well, and it was so funny what spun off of it as WEEI again making fun of Brady. I would say
he's never going to go on that station again.
No, I hope he doesn't. This is the second time they haven't attacked him. Okay, but Christian Fourier, who is a well-known Patriot, went on air and tried to, I don't know, imitate Don Yee.
Oh, hello. Hello, Ron. This is Don Yee. This is Don Yee. And what's this line, buddy? About to get this contract for Jimmy. You stop that. Please, stop that. Unless McDaniels was named the coach in waiting. It's so much more fun that way.
Now, these are the JAs that'll sit there and make fun of Jacksonville as a city.
Right.
They are a bunch of morons.
You don't. Do you ever listen to them at all? Or?
No.
No.
When I lived up there, I would listen to it and I would get angry and I would want to get on the phone to call and be like, "You are such a moron. I don't understand how you are on air." And this was before I was in the radio business. It would make me so mad. And it would be something simple like they have no idea what went on in sports the night before. And they're going, "Oh, really? That happened?" I'm like, "How do you not know that? You have a radio show. I don't understand."
Part of your job.
It is. It should be part of your job. And it would. So he has now been suspended. Yet another WEI guy has been suspended for something like that, as he should be.
I was a little on the fence about the whole Brady thing. The one radio host making fun of the kid. I think it's well within Brady's right to say, I'm not going to ever go on your station again. But in another sense, it's almost like, well, you're Tom Brady. Why do you care what some rando, weekender person on the radio has to say about your kid? But if you have several people that are now bashing the team and bashing the franchise, I wonder if that's more of a move made by the station because Brady is no longer going to be coming on their show.
I wouldn't doubt it. It has to be now a shtick because why else do it? Like, why act like Fourier? Isn't he the one that called? Is Fourier the one that called the drill?
Yeah, he was Mock from Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a terrible accent.
And he was saying, "Hold on, I'm going through a tunnel."
Yeah, I'm going through a tunnel.
He's like, yeah, okay, where?
See, this is why I love podcasts, because you can just choose what you want to listen to when you want to listen to it. You don't have to listen to schmucks like that.
But I was just, I was stunned that yet somebody else from WEI would do something stupid again. But whatever. So there was a story about, I told you off air before this, so I want to get into it next segment as we talk about, the Pats fan that filed a complaint against an Eagles fan, and something else that went down. Plus, Johnny Manziel's back in the news at Good Morning America. So we'll talk more about all that coming up next on Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes.
Hi, I'm Jacksonville Jaguars linebacker.
I think I just saw the weirdest food combination ever. That hacker is eating.
Oh, what is he eating?
he's eating some enchiladas with hot sauce, which that's fine. But as a side dish, green beans with mustard on top.
Hot mustard?
I guess. I've never seen that combination.
I do like
I've
green
had her.
beans with steak sauce.
But that would make sense because you would have green beans with your steak.
Right. But with enchilada, maybe that was all he had.
I guess.
Like
I don't
leftovers.
know. But because my moronic self, I forgot to have Frank to do the giveaway for Valentine's.
Oh, okay.
So many things. So I went over to ask Hacker if he could do it.
Yeah.
And he said he would and everything.
Perfect.
So I got.
So you gave him all the info?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll email it to him again.
Okay.
It's on the prize.
Welcome to
page.
YouTube.
But I was like caught off guard royally by enchiladas with hot sauce and green beans with mustard on top.
That's really funny.
I'm like,
I watched the Today Show
okay.
this morning, and they had Chloe Kim on.
Oh, okay.
And so with her talking about how she didn't finish her breakfast, and she was hangry,
Mm-hmm.
so they brought her 2 bowls of ice cream, like a tray of sandwiches,
She's gonna get so many sponsorship
and
deals.
and churros, because she wanted churros. And she sat there and she dunked the churro, ate a sandwich, and licked the ice cream. She goes, yeah, that's not a good combination. But then she sat there and just ate it all. I'm like, well, you're 17, girlfriend. You eat all that you can.
And you just won gold. You can eat whatever you want.
And he was saying you just won a gold medal.
Mm-hmm.
Between that and the other kid that won a gold medal and he slept.
Red?
Yeah, and he overslept and.
Because he was watching Netflix all night or something.
Yeah.
I love that they named him Red. You
Red.
don't hear that name anymore. And it is an old school name.
What else are we talking about?
But yeah, I'll shoot. All the information's on that prize grid. I'll just let JJ
I skipped
know.
over the Tebow, so we still have that if you ever want to get to it.
So I'll let JJ know that. Just refer
Okay.
to that. So I can,
Perfect.
So
Yeah, because I forget all that it is.
it's a $50 gift card to Pro Flowers, $50 gift card to Sherry's and $50 gift card to M1.
Okay.
Is what it is.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a hell of a prize pack.
I know.
All right, ladies. You guys have a good night.
See ya. You too.
I'm heading home to do laundry. I definitely need to do laundry.
Well, eat some green beans and
Hot mustard.
something.
Mustard. I'll make sure I add that to the list.
I don't know about it. Way to go, Sonic, with the soft pretzels.
I haven't had Sonic in a minute, but probably gonna be a while.
Well, so Yes. So if you see me like what I'm eating, like you don't normally eat that. Why are you eating that?
I didn't know. Congratulations.
And I'm kind of fat, so.
You are not. You're the farthest thing from it. How far along are you?
Like 8 or 9. But I've gotten wide fast. So I'm already in my prego clothes from last night.
Nice.
I'm like, I can't wear my normal clothes.
Sucks.
So-
It's such a tough life wearing yoga pants every day.
I know, that's all I'm wearing. I'm like, you guys better enjoy seeing me in yoga pants because that's all you're going to see me in.
There was a cute meme that was out the other day that said, people who talk about how
Thanks.
pants aren't, or yoga pants aren't real pants. And they said, I will fight you and I will win because I will have full range of motion because I'm wearing yoga pants.
Yep. Is that? I agree. So true. I'm gonna try to find that.
Can we get into the Johnny Manziel thing? I got a couple clips.
Yeah, definitely.
Check out his blog at 1010xl.com. His blog is brought to you by Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
Look at that.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes
Presented by Underwood Jewelers and American Window Products.
on 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Welcome into Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes. And earlier in the show, we sort of talked about how a Patriots fan, I think we talked about it off air, but a Patriots fan had his car parked apparently in the Philadelphia area and had some Patriots stickers all over it. Well, Eagles fans decided to trash the car.
And I'm showing her right now. I'll try to turn
by
it see if I can-
The fans broke some windows on the car. They took green paint, like Philly green paint, and threw it all over the outside and the inside of the car. Sort of despicable. Despicable.
I mean, you trashed it. You broke 2 windows and threw green paint all over it. My argument is, what is your problem? You won. I don't understand. Like, is this Lane Johnson doing this? I am so confused. You won.
Right.
Shut up.
I mean, it's not even like an obnoxious Patriots car. Because when you first told me
It's
this, I said,
not.
well, maybe he has, like a lot of flags on his car.
One sticker on the back and one on the front.
One sticker. And you have, well, no, he does have one,
Yeah.
very large sticker on the front. But it's not covered. It's a normal sports fan type car of what we're seeing here. Anyways, it's ridiculous. Philly, do better as far as your fan representation is concerned. But moving on into another sort of Super Bowl related story, that immediately following the Pats Super Bowl loss, Patriots star tight end Rob Gronkowski was asked about his commitment to playing football for the following season. Now, this is a guy who plays incredibly tough, but he's often injured, and he's known sort of league-wide as the party guy. So given his entertainment value, guys like Sylvester Stallone and The Rock are telling Gronk to retire now from the NFL and to seek a career in movies and possibly wrestling, any other sport essentially besides not any other sport, but other options that could be available to a guy like Gronk. Do you think it's going to be a good or a bad move for him? If he does take the move.
I hope he doesn't take it next year. I hope he stays one more year. Maybe the TB12 diet's getting to him. He's like, I can't do this crap anymore.
Going crazy.
I can't drink 5 glasses of water every time I have a beer. I don't know what's going on. But movies, look, the only thing I could see Gronk being good in is anything made by
like Adam
Franco.
Yeah. James Franco.
Anything made by James Franco and Seth
MacFarlane. Not Seth MacFarlane. Well,
what's his name?
Rogen.
Yeah, Seth Rogen. Seth
Those
MacFarlane's
two.
family
That's
guy.
all he should
So
be
you
in.
want Gronk to be in like a stoner comedy?
I mean, is he built for anything else? Because granted, he's big, kind of like The Rock, but he does not smolder like The Rock. he could not be in Jumanji and people fall in love with him. He would be funny paired with Kevin Hart, though. He still would. Like he
has to serve like a Stifler type role.
Yes.
Like just the
For
party
sure.
guy. And that's why I think that maybe not movies, maybe like a small part in movies here and there. Sort of like maybe like LeBron James does small parts here
Right.
and there in movies.
Have your own reality party show on MTV or VH1 or whatever. I don't know what, MTV doesn't air videos anymore, so might as well.
I think more wrestling should
Wrestling,
be.
he would be awesome.
Yes, I think that he's that kind of entertainer, and we've seen with his moves in this past season that he can take guys out.
Right, and
with
I think
haymakers.
it's built perfectly for his family. You could see it would be the Gronk boys or the Gronksters or however they're going to do it.
Because he has like 4 brothers, and his
Yes.
dad is they're all just
They're
sort
big.
of party guys and ripped all together. It's like they all lift weights together. And
I mean, there's so many times when they show them all and talk about what they used to do. I feel so bad for his mom. Like, she
Oh,
grew
God,
up with
what a
all that.
nightmare.
That poor
I wonder what her
woman.
grocery bill looked like.
I don't know, but she deserves anything that they're
Lots
giving
and
her.
lots of red meat.
Right? Lots of red meat. So yeah, I think wrestling would be the best thing for him.
Yeah, that's definitely right up his alley. I think that that's the best move to take, especially with the sport like wrestling, which I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I did hear an interesting perspective on the sport the other day that they've grown their sport as they still have like the main events that travel all over the country, but they've also grown their subscriber base where fans are paying the pay-per-view prices in order to watch that sport, and it's a growing revenue stream. And with Vince McMahon launching the XFL, there's sort of a little bit of rumors that he's going to do the same thing with football and that same sort of business model.
And he'll try with that. I mean, he tried once and it failed. But you never know.
I think if he doesn't have it during the same time as the NFL is going on,
Right.
he can capitalize tremendously.
He should, exactly. I mean, that would be perfect timing. Once the NFL ends, go ahead and start the XFL because people are still hungry. Like you miss it. You want to get back to it.
I'm already missing football
Yeah.
a little bit. A little bit.
It's not going to fill the void completely, but maybe it'll be entertaining.
It's sort of weird having, your weekends back, and it's like, wow, I have so much time now. What
Right.
do I do? When you started immersing yourself in household projects. And it's like, well, I'd much rather be tailgating right now rather than, fixing up chairs and things like that. But moving on, we talked about, obviously we just mentioned the Eagles fans that were acting a little bitter. So we're going to talk about a Pats fan that acted a little bitter. 57-year-old Patriots fan had a little bit of a joke played on him at the office following the Super Bowl when an Eagles coworker changed his desktop background to an Eagles background. Only the old man, who has zero sense of humor, decided to file a harassment claim with the company's HR team because he felt like he was being bullied. Now, Donna, as the resident Pats fan, you said that this guy makes you sick. He's a whiny baby. But is this the kind of petty that sports fans should embrace?
Yeah. It's nothing I would ever do.
File the complaint or change the desktop?
Both. I would never do that.
See, I might do both.
And I thought about you when I saw this for the fact of how you would react if someone changed yours to like a Patriot logo after the loss. Like how would you have reacted?
Oh my God. I don't know. I don't know. I might pull the same thing that this guy did and file a harassment claim. I'm being attacked. I'm being bullied. I need help. Captain America, come save me.
Would you really? You would.
No, I probably
But I figured
would.
you would be mad. But I don't think anybody would go to the extreme of filing a complaint.
Well, I think what really hit home with this guy is, and this is what I love most about the story, is that he tried to change the background, but he didn't know how.
I know, he doesn't know how to change it back.
So that's probably he's just sitting and stewing and just looking at his computer background, just getting angrier by the second. So under that sort of circumstance, under that rationale, I definitely understand filing the harassment claim.
Well, and if no one's going to help you, too, I don't know if he's asked, can someone please help me? And they're all like, nope, you're on your own.
But I do think it does play a role that it's a Patriots fan that's upset about this. Like, you would so many times.
I know.
And this little bit is going to push you over the edge that you're going to file a harassment claim.
That's why I said it's so stupid.
You don't know real pain. You don't know real pain.
I laughed hard, but I did think of you. I was like, man, if someone would have done that to Blythe's computer, I wonder what she would have done. Because I think stuff would have been thrown.
Maybe. Like the vision that goes through my head when you first said that, I thought about throwing my laptop to the ground. I said, no, that's my laptop. I don't want to ruin my laptop.
And you know how to change your background.
Right, I would just change it immediately. But knowing that this poor 57-year-old man is sitting at his computer, doesn't know how to change it, and he's getting angrier by the second, makes me really laugh. But I think that that's also part of like the office camaraderie is talking trash about sports.
Yeah.
And it's not, changing someone's background is I've seen a lot worse.
We can't tell you, well, I've never done it personally, but have I seen someone who may work in the mornings, and I'm not talking about you, Tyler, that has so many times messed with hackers' Facebook page because he will leave it open and logged in, and so you're just asking for something. So there has been many times where stuff like that has happened, but it's part of the camaraderie. It's fun here. We don't do anything that's
it's not malicious. You're not throwing someone's paint all over someone's car and damaging, personal vandalism and things like that. You're just changing a little background.
That is bad.
Well, that's a little bit of a funny story, but moving on to something I guess a little bit more serious is Johnny Manziel is back in the news, and not for the stereotypical reason that you would think. Former Heisman Trophy winner and Cleveland Browns draft pick has been sober for more than a year. He's been seen working out, trying to get back into football shape, and also admitted to being bipolar and battling depression. And Donna, you've called him Johnny D-Bag, Johnny Football, but does this admission of sort of the struggles that he's gone through off the field, does this make you change your opinion of him?
Football-wise, it doesn't, but it makes me proud that he's admitting there was a problem, in a sense. That he says that he's bipolar, but he has been self-medicating, so therefore that was his problem, So would it make me want to give him a shot as a team owner? No. No, it wouldn't. It would make me not diss him now, because
hate him,
now
I
that
guess,
I
as
know,
much.
now that I, not that
Because he's always been a little entitled. He grew up within a wealthy family,
Right.
sort of, grew up playing football in Texas. And if you're a good football player in Texas, you have the
Right.
world the world is your oyster.
Which is so funny because Texas and Florida, when you're looking at recruiting out of high school, those are the two states you want to be in. And it doesn't seem like Florida gets that entitlement. They're just good working boys that can play football. When it's Texas, it kind of seems that way.
High school sports is so vastly different. It's treated so different
Right.
over there, where
Right.
you'll get 100,000 in a stadium to watch a high school game.
Right.
A high school game.
But look, I was not a fan of his when he was coming out of college, when they had that ESPN article on him and talking about when he was out golfing with his dad and he got mad because he wasn't shooting the way he wanted to shoot, and he put a towel over his head and he started to cry. I'm like, that you want that person on your team? Like that? And back then you go, he's a head case, and clearly now that we know he really is, there's something wrong with him.
I was listening to he was on an interview with Barstool Sports, and he started talking about how when he first got into the NFL, he didn't know how to be a pro. He would show up at the same time that everybody else was told to show up, and then he would leave when everybody else left. He didn't know. The Browns never showed him how to be a pro, and I thought that was really eye-opening, because he didn't start even watching film like a quarterback should until Josh McCown arrived. And Josh McCown had played in the league for, I think it was 14 years at the time that he started, mentoring Johnny Manziel. And then he said that's when he started really learning how to be a pro. And then by then it was almost too late, because he's hanging out with the same high school friends he's always had. They have the ease to be able to go to a bar and not have somebody take a photo of him. So he was really admitting that he had to change his entire inner circle, because the people that he was surrounding himself with weren't trying to better him.
But I mean, that's what they do the rookie symposium for. A lot of that obviously with financials, but look, you gotta unless it's, hey, you gotta make sure someone's gonna take the
you gotta get a fall guy.
Yeah. Unless it's that, then you're not learning much. But so I don't know. Would you take a chance on him?
It all depends on how you're playing on the field. Now, he's rumored to be talking with the XFL, possibly going to play for or not the XFL, but the CFL,
right.
And it could parlay into a role with the XFL or possibly even the NFL again. But if he's a good player on the field, absolutely, I'd take a look at him. Because I always fall under the mantra of does your talent exceed your baggage? And if you have been, apparently he has been sober for more than a year now, which is really good. But it just opens up a new perspective on how he's grown up, and I think Tyler has a little bit of audio talking about this situation.
Are you still drinking?
No.
Not drinking at all?
I'm not, because here's the way I look at it. Going back throughout the last couple years of my life, I was self-medicating with alcohol. Like, that's what I thought was making me happy and helped me get out of that depression to a point of where I felt like I had some sense of happiness. But at the end of the day, when you're left staring at the ceiling by yourself and you're back in that depression and back in that hole, that dark hole of sitting in a room by yourself, being super depressed, thinking about all the mistakes you've made in your life, what did that get me? Where did that get me except out of the NFL? Where did that get me? Disgraced?
I mean, if he can right his ship, he should be at the next rookie symposium. That's
a great point.
You want to learn from someone who had it all,
right?
Who was phenomenal in college and then just did not get it. That's who you want to hear from. You're never going to hear from Justin Blackmon. You should just throw up his picture and read his story and don't do what he did.
You got to have a fall guy in the crew.
Yeah, a fall
Chris
guy.
Carter.
That's so bad.
Kind of true, though.
But I think the CFL would do wonders for him. The CFL is not a bad place to be.
It's not at all. And I don't know why. It's sort of, guys thumb their nose at it. But this is something that if it can help you, especially with the quarterback position, he's been out of the league for, 2 years now. That's a long time to be out of the league. And you have to get the reps. You have to get that practice in. That's the only way you're ever going to be sharp.
Right.
And so he has to deal with not just the mental health aspect of it, but also his overall health, dealing with not going back to those luxuries of alcohol and other substance abuse issues that he had. He's going to have to, and it seems like he's been on the straight and narrow for the past year. I heard that when he was at various Super Bowl parties, he's the one that's off to the side drinking water. He's still there to sort of show appearances, but he's not hanging out with any of his old high school buddies. He's not surrounding himself with the people who didn't have his best interests at heart. And so maybe this is getting him refocused. Maybe he's growing up a little.
And I found it funny that they asked him about Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
You know, and well, I'm not him and he's not me. Okay. Like that's your comment, though. You know,
I did hear him talk a little bit more about Baker Mayfield, and he sort of defended him a little bit. He's like, we're not the same person, and he gets a little showboaty, but all athletes get showboaty on the sidelines. He just has a camera on him, and he'll learn that sooner rather than later. Because Manziel said that he struggled with that too. When he first got in the league, he was reading all of the news reports, all of social media, and it got into his head.
Which is funny because if you win a Heisman, aren't you doing that anyways? And you're the king of campus, like. I don't understand how you get into the NFL and then all of a sudden you start reading that.
I think that it was a lot more pressure on him, a lot more eyeballs. You know, he has, I think it was LeBron James agency, sports agency, that was starting to represent him in the Cleveland area. Right. And then when they choose to part ways because it's not a financial benefit to them, then the world starts crashing around you. And probably as an addict, he didn't realize it was too late until it was already too late.
Right.
I don't know. But coming up in the next segment, we're going to get into a little bit of Olympics coverage in case that if you haven't watched any of it, like myself, I haven't watched any of the Olympics. I've been following on social media, but Donna's going to get us caught up with the Olympics. We're going to talk a little bit about Rays baseball. Unfortunately, I guess they're moving out of their stadium in Tampa. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the Cubs. So tune in. We will be right back right after this. This is Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes.
They're going to need all the help they can get.
Only took them like 10 years too long to decide to move out of that dump.
I didn't even click. I need to click on the article because I just thought overall, like, I'm not. I won't go to the Tampa Bay Rays game.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg.
Ybor City, okay.
Clayton, you have told us about buying better quality
Roughly 20 miles
Is there
from
any
the
way to
teams.
start with a smaller
I wonder why. Did they have, when the Rays came into the league, did they have that park already?
I want to say yes.
And that's why they had that. And so that's why they didn't get a new stadium. I'm going to Google that really quick. Welcome in YouTube. If you guys are just tuning in, we're live on YouTube now, not Facebook anymore. Live on YouTube every Tuesday night, 7 to 9 p.m. I'm getting hungry. I can't be looking at these.
Eat your wings.
I said I'm starting low carb today. I didn't. So I try to do no carbs on days that I don't work out and low carb on days that I do. Cause I have a shoot coming up in a month, exactly a month. Mm-hmm. So it's about that time.
Oh, sorry.
As you're eating your little carb-filled pretzels that look delicious.
Right now, this is really the only thing that tastes
Do you have
good.
any weird cravings yet?
No, I have none, which is not good. You don't want anything. Nothing sounds
good. You're like sort of nauseous, I guess?
Yeah, so you gotta find something that will let you be okay. And so these are delicious, and my little fruit slushy is lovely.
What were your weird cravings last time?
I didn't have anything weird, but I would eat Three Musketeers, like they were going out of style, and Oreos, and Kraft mac and cheese.
When do your cravings start?
Depends, everybody's different.
Like pretty soon after? Or I guess it depends.
It's more, it's more of the sooner thing is you'll start to detest stuff right away. Because your smell is so heightened, and you're like, oh, that doesn't smell good. I don't want that.
What's been like the biggest thing that you don't like smelling?
See, I haven't had that. Mm-mm. It's heightened, and I can smell everything, but nothing's been like, nope. But everything is kind of like, I'm good. I don't want it.
Like no appetite whatsoever. So you don't even want to try one of these cake pops.
No. Like it doesn't sound appealing.
I don't even really
That's
like
why you were
cake pops.
sweet. You're like, come on, you'll try it. It doesn't sound appealing.
That's all like,
You know?
I don't really like cake pops, but this shit is so good.
I mean, they look good.
What are y'all doing tomorrow?
Nothing.
The NFL did Jacksonville a favor by putting the Philly game in London. We don't,
You don't want the fans
here?
here?
That's actually a really good point.
Right? Bye, fans. Go to London. Ruin that town if you want.
I've seen Philly fans.
Sorry, Alex, from the UK. You're not going to enjoy that.
I've seen Philly fans act disgusting at Oriole games in Baltimore.
I saw some guy on Twitter goes, well, try wearing a Yankee cap in Fenway. I'm like, how about you don't do that?
Yeah.
That. What do you expect's going to happen?
As long as you're not an asshole, you're not, most of the time, you're not going to get treated badly.
No, but you wear a Yankee cap in Fenway.
When
Sorry,
I went to
like
a Red Sox Yankee game and in Yankee Stadium, and I changed into my Red Sox shirt. I didn't wear it on the subway.
Smart.
I had it in my backpack, and I went to the bathroom and put the Red Sox shirt on. And then before we rode the subway back, I changed out of it. I wasn't there. Because we whooped their ass, too, like 10-2.
That's smart.
Almost got fought.
There's a,
It's bad.
Did you know Poppy has a show?
No.
Big Poppy Needs a Job.
Oh.
I saw a preview for it. I don't know. I think during PTI or something. It's on a Fusion. I found it on DirecTV, and it's Wednesday night, so I'm recording it.
Holy hell! No.
He's working at a food truck. He's trying, and like the line gets longer because he's not making anything good. He's like, "How'd I do?"
Oh, I love him.
Big Poppy Needs a Job. Come on.
I loved those commercials too, and during the postseason, like him and A-Rod.
Yeah. I'm like, that's so cute, man.
Poppy needs a job. Got it.
That's funny.
That's awesome.
Right?
He's so great for TV, too.
Oh, his personality is just stellar. All right, I'm coming back here, right?
Helmets and heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes.
Presented by Underwood Jewelers and American Window Products.
On 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Welcome back to Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes. By the way, keep listening because we are going to give some lucky listener a wonderful Valentine's Day treat, and that would be a wonderful Peterbrook chocolate heel later on.
How are you going to give it away?
I don't know yet. So thinking something Valentine's. You know, we
maybe like the worst Valentine's you ever had.
Yeah, worst Valentine's date.
Maybe the worst date ever that you've ever had. Maybe not Valentine's specific. God, that'd be awesome.
Do you have one in your mind?
Oh yeah, I do.
See, I've been with my husband for so long, like I can't remember. It was right after high school. So
I'll give you a little preview of it. He was a Tim Tebow stan.
Oh dear.
And 30 seconds.
all I
30 seconds into the date, he's like, "Let me tell you why Tebow didn't get a fair chance."
Oh, bye.
I said, let me get a double bourbon.
You didn't just say bye?
I should have.
Oh,
and it got to the point where I stayed on it long enough that I'm just gonna see how this unfolds. I'm gonna see how ridiculous he gets.
Maybe you're prettier than what you're saying. You know, is that what you're thinking? Can I ignore the words coming out of your mouth?
Yeah, he went. No, I'm not gonna talk about it anymore. But yeah, he. It was the worst date of my life, and I stayed on it as long as possible just for the entertainment value.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, Tyler. You got a worst date ever?
I don't really have a worst date. I did break up with a girl like the day after Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day, I should say.
What?
The day after?
Why?
That's okay. You didn't do it on the day of.
No, you can't.
You might as well.
It's a terrible move. So I had the common courtesy to at least wait the extra day. But
right.
It wasn't like a long-time girlfriend or nothing. You know, it was a few months type of thing. But
did you get her anything for Valentine's Day?
I can't remember if I did it. I'm sure I did. It'd be terrible if I didn't. But I was gonna, I wouldn't be surprised if I didn't know. But,
see, I can't
remember.
I've always heard that dating season opens on February 15th. Like you're not supposed to date anybody from the middle of November, or you're not supposed to start dating somebody from the middle of November until February 15th because it puts too much pressure. Because you got all the holidays, you got New Year's, you got Valentine's Day. If dating season opens on February 15th, then it's a lot less stressful.
Okay. I could see that. I can see it. I wouldn't be able to tell you a bad date. I don't know.
I just had the one, and it was just comically bad.
It's been 18 years with my husband, so I don't know.
Well, anyways, if you
have
any
bad date is high school or bad dates. I mean, come on, for real. You know, there's no good date.
But if you have a bad date story, send it in.
Yeah.
and you'll win a Peterborough Chocolate Hill.
Yeah, text in 641-1010. And Peterborough Chocolate Hill to cry your sorrows away and enjoy.
And eat your weight in chocolate.
You know, take that, bad date. Okay, so the Winter Olympics have been going on, and I find it hilarious that we talked about it last week, and I said I don't understand. They start on Thursday, yet the opening ceremony is Friday.
Right.
But I was tuned in Thursday night. I couldn't wait because the team event started with figure skating. And this is something new to me. I don't remember really being into it last year as much. Or 4 years ago, and but I was very into it. You don't know anybody, but the good thing about the Winter Olympics is they will tell you everybody's story.
The story is the big thing behind it.
And you will fall in love with all of these athletes, and the commentators. And we're looking right now because they're showing. The ice skating is going to go on tonight, and the pair skating, I believe, for the gold medal. And Johnny Weir and Tara Lipinski.
I love them.
I absolutely love them. I don't care how funkadelic Johnny dresses.
I love how outrageous his outfits are.
The one that they did 2 nights ago, and someone posted, oh, I guess they're doing the Hunger Games at the Winter Olympics. I'm like, yes. But what I love most about and it doesn't matter which sport you're listening to, unless I do agree Bodie Miller is a snooze for skiing, they explain everything to you.
As far as figure skating is concerned,
yes.
Or just the rest of the sports?
They will, the majority of them, they will explain snowboarding, they will explain what where the deductions are, what they'll get more deduction or more points for, what the 1080 is, what the 720 is, all of these. And especially with ice skating, they are phenomenal because they will pinpoint every little thing. This is what a triple axel is, and they tell you just like.
And then they just have someone in American land the first triple axel.
Yeah, a female. She's never done it in the Winter Olympics. No female has ever done it for the Americans. And they explain to you what it is, and they'll show you, and they're just, they will not hold back too. Tara and Johnny, they will sit there and go, dang, you bad. They will flat out go, oh, that was awful. And so if you can't take it, then I'm sorry. But if you don't want to watch them, if you want to just listen to some funny commentary, you need to start following Leslie Jones of Saturday Night Live.
Love her.
Now she's funny.
She's hilarious.
So she's there, and her only job is to comment on everything that she's watching. And it's fantastic, especially when they did the men's luge a couple nights ago.
Oh, with the attractive guy, and she's going crazy about the attractive guy.
But she, it's straight off of like, you can spit off of this and die. Like the stuff she is saying, so it'll just be fun. If you just want to see a snippet of it and just listen to her, that's so much fun. But I have thoroughly enjoyed. And
what's been your favorite story so far?
I think the snowboarding. And because I can't favor Red, who was the 17-year-old that won.
That was the one that he stayed up all night watching Netflix and slept in and still won gold the next day.
And then,
that's such an American story.
Right? And then Chloe Kim, who won last night.
And she was the one that she's right before her meet. Because I know all like the I guess the random stories, or I guess the most popular.
She didn't finish her breakfast.
Or she was super hungry, and then she really wanted ice cream.
Yep.
Is she the same one?
She didn't want a sugar rush, so she's like, no, I can't eat that. And so, she's very big on social media. She was great.
She's 17 years old, and she has 2 gold medals, I think?
No, she has 1.
Oh, just 1,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because she was obviously too young for the last one. But both 17-year-olds, maybe that's why you're thinking, both 17-year-olds won for the gold medal. And I think it's awesome. To me, the most fun thing watching with the Winter Olympics is the snowboarding.
Yes.
Because it's badass. I just find it so badass.
I thought hockey wasn't in this year's Olympics, but is it just not NHL players are playing in? Okay, because I saw the women's hockey team that they did very well, and did they win gold? I don't know if they won gold. I think they did. I could be wrong.
No, they haven't won gold yet.
But I saw a picture of them. I was like, I thought we weren't having hockey, but I guess that the correlation between the NHL not allowing their players to participate, I think that's where I heard my news from.
Did you see there was a great story for the female hockey sisters that are playing? And they're adopted, and one of the sisters is from, I want to say it's Korea, and the other one's American. So they said likelihood they probably won't face each other with the way it's set up. But they both grew up ice skating, and the American sister took more towards the hockey realm, and they are so close. They've never been apart, that her sister missed her with the ice skating realm, so she took up hockey as well, and they've been together ever since, and now they're together. They got asked separately by separate teams, obviously, to be in the Olympics, and it's that's such a sweet story. This is what I love about it, because they tell you all these sweet stories, and it just makes your heart melt.
I've missed several days of the Olympics coverage, so for someone who hasn't watched, what are the normal times? Is it still like a primetime thing, or is it all day, all night?
Well, it is. I mean, during the day, you're going to get the ones that you don't normally watch. That'll be something like speed skating or the biathlon. Or
not curling. Curling is incredibly popular.
Curling, right. Curling is, because curling makes you feel like, I know I can do that. It's
but
shuffleboard on ice.
Because it's really tough.
Right. It's shuffleboard on ice, and that's why everybody's like, come on now. And so, yeah, but the prime time is always going to be the skiing,
the snowboarding,
the downhill, and the snowboarding and the skating. That's everything. And I love that it starts at night, but I don't love that it starts at night, because I fell asleep to it. And then by the time it's 11:30, I'm well past my bedtime and fast asleep. But that's when they'll show somebody winning the gold, and I missed it.
I've been in such a sports purgatory. I think that I'm going to have to start watching this.
Well, it's a blast. It really is. And it doesn't bother me at all getting alerts that I know who won already, because I still want to see it.
Right.
Like, I want to see how they won. I want to see how good they were. Like Shaun White, you saw what he did in his prelims, and he got I think it was a 98, and it was ridiculous how amazing he was. And that was just the prelims. So now comes the event, and that'll be fun to watch, because you want to see how well you can.
Is he going to get that?
You can only get 2 more points better than that. So can you top it? Can you at least match it? There's a lot of good stories, because he wasn't on the podium last year. He wasn't there. He got injured, and so he has a good story. And he got a lot of stitches in his face and bashed up. It was a bad accident. Yeah. So, there's a lot of great stories out there, but it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. I enjoy it very much.
I usually do. I just haven't watched any of it, and I'm just preoccupied with other things going on. But I will make it a priority to start watching.
Well, let's go to something during the summertime and springtime. That's baseball. And the story came out that the Tampa Bay Rays have finally decided to move? Question mark, I'm going to say.
Move cities?
Yes, they're going to move from Tampa to Ybor City, it seems like, which is about 20 miles apart. However, the problem arises is that means they need a new stadium. And
who is going to foot the bill for that?
Exactly. Historically, teams do not want to pay for their own stadium. So
taxpayers do.
Exactly. So we're going to see how that happens. Tropicana Field, I don't like it. I don't want to step 1 foot back into that thing. It is a dumpster fire.
It's a dome.
Yep.
And they have lighting fixtures everywhere that it's regular interference with the game. There's stupid cowbells.
Which echo in a dome. If they build a new one, please don't make this a dome.
No, you can't.
I will be irate.
Well, the Marlins, don't they have a retractable roof, I believe?
They got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they got a lot of bells and whistles at that stadium, but they got pools too.
Yeah.
Not pools that you can actually watch the game from.
Right.
But
just to be out there,
I guess.
I don't know. But so Tropicana Field, obviously, it like I said, it's a dumpster fire. The Rays have constantly been ranked near the bottom of attendance, despite being good.
So why would a new stadium fix that?
I don't know, because no one wants to go to Tampa, where it is. There's nothing there. Ybor City's more lively.
I didn't even know that Ybor City was like an actual city. I thought it was just like a section, almost like a like a Regency area to Jacksonville.
Like a Fleming Island?
Yeah. Like not like a real,
not
like that's
island.
just a place that you go.
Neighborhood, you're right.
Yeah. It is a neighborhood, so it's not like an actual city that you put on your address.
So I think it's, I don't know, more
it's a party
accessible.
city.
It's more, it's just.
Yeah, where the stadium's at now in St. Petersburg, it's kind of an older part of town. Like the older folks kind of live in that area. And Ybor City is like right downtown in Tampa, so it's a really good spot for it. It's just a terrible location. team's always been terrible stadium. So like, why go out there?
Well, and the team hasn't always been terrible. I mean, that's the thing. They're looking at it like, how
winning,
come
they still couldn't sell it out.
Right, exactly.
It's bad. It's been bad.
It's probably maybe because of their stupid cowbells.
It's brutal. The cowbells are brutal, man.
I
don't
went
like them at all.
to the Louisville Mississippi State game for the Tax Slayer Bowl, and Mississippi State has the tradition of the cowbells, and I've never hated an instrument more in my life than after that game. I had a headache for more than a day because of those stupid cowbells.
Yeah. Do you remember after the World Cup, the vuvuzelas?
Yes.
And
I didn't hate those as much as I hate cowbells.
Well, did you hear them in Tropicana Field? Because the Rays...
Of course they would adopt those.
They would adopt those, and those were horrific. So even when I'm watching the game, I had to mute it because, one, you don't want to listen to the Rays announcers because they're boring as all hell. And two, I don't want to hear the cowbells or the vuvuzelas. You're getting both of those. It's like, I don't like either of them unless it's Will Ferrell playing the cowbell. I don't want to hear the cowbell at all.
When Madden left to join the Cubs, that's when I was sort of done with, because I really like him, his managerial style, he's more like zen, I guess, than other managers, strict managers across the league. But that's when they sort of became dead to me. Was during that time.
If they end up having, figuring out how to build this stadium, nice new stadium in Ybor City, would that make you go?
Only if the Red Sox are playing.
Right, that's what I'm not
I wouldn't go to see the Rays play. But I'm down to catch, new stadiums. I kind of want to make it like a life goal to get to as many sports stadiums as possible across all sports, NFL, baseball, even college too.
If it's a dome, I'm not. I don't care how new it is.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It just depends. If I get free tickets, I'll go. If the Red Sox are playing, I'll probably go. But if cowbells are involved, I probably will nix that whole idea and just go to Ybor City.
Yeah, I agree. I'll stand outside. Bye. Well, I want to hear what Tyler's thoughts are on the Cubs and Yu Darvish, and I love all the U's that we talked about with beef. There couldn't have been more play on the words. How are you doing? More coming up next on Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes.
Winter is here, and your old windows could be costing you money and higher electric.
That's really, how are you doing? Are you excited? I mean, it was over and over and over again.
There we go. I have not paid any attention to baseball. It's just my brain has been football or nothing.
You haven't missed anything because the Sox haven't done anything.
I know.
They haven't done nothing.
Besides the Yankees getting Stanton, which I was very upset about.
I didn't want him.
Really? No. Oh, yeah, you guys don't. You guys don't like his personality or something?
No. When does a National League player, it's rare, work out for the Red Sox? It's rare. Plus, when is the National League with a, umpteen, paycheck work out?
That's...
Doesn't fare well for Boston. Alex. What did Alex say?
What did he say?
Blythe has her camera on what you talk about in the breaks is being broadcast. Not sure if you want to put that out there. Oh. That's fine.
Who's it, Alex from the UK?
Yeah.
Hi, Alex.
Talking about my news.
Oh.
I said that's fine.
There's only like 5 people watching.
He's funny.
Oh, but that's sweet for him to give a heads
up.
Let's see.
Oh, no. I thought it was the American. So the dancing, there's ice dancing and then there's pair skating.
Do they get to pick their own music?
Well, that's a good question. So no, yes and no. They have so many rules, and
that's what I was wondering. Like, why don't we ever hear like?
They give you a genre. I think in free skate for the singles you are allowed. Is it free skate? I want to say free skate.
It's like a figure skate to Drake.
Right.
I would watch the shit out of that.
Like, you have to have a genre. So Latin music the other night was the genre. So you can do anything as long as it's Latin music.
What counts as Latin? Does Pitbull count as Latin?
That's what I was saying. I'm like, I want to hear some Pitbull. And someone danced to and I say dance because I think it was the ice dancing, not the pair skating, because there's two different. Did Mariah Carey. I don't remember the song it was. And I could hear the music kind of having a little Latin feel, but it was Mariah Carey. I'm like...
Was it like a remix or something?
No, I've heard the song before, and I can't remember what it is.
I'm trying to fix this lighting on your face.
So the pair couple for the U.S., they're married.
Oh.
Yeah. And the
they probably communicate really well.
The ice dancing couple for the Americans are brother-sister.
That's a little weird.
No, it's a cute story.
But then you got to get all like up close and personal like that with your brother? I don't think so.
They've been skating together since they were 7 and 4. So they've been doing it all their life.
I guess.
It's so cute.
I don't know. That's
little story. I don't know. I just love the little stories. I'm like, aw. And so the girl that hit the triple axel, and the man.
I thought it's Oksana Bayul. That doesn't sound like an American name.
No, that's long
I thought she
ago.
was the first one to hit the triple axel, but maybe
She's not American.
Yeah, that's the correlation I'm missing.
So the man, Aaron Rippin, the male figure skater, and then the one that hit the triple axel, the female, they both missed Sochi 4 years ago. So they watched the Olympics together. Like they've been best friends. They watched the Olympics together all 4 years ago. And so he was telling the story about it. And now we're here together. It's so exciting. Like, aw.
That's cool.
Like, there's so many cute stories. But the Russians are ridiculous.
I thought the Russians weren't allowed to compete in this.
So there's certain athletes, they're not. And you're not allowed to say that you're from Russia. That's why they're called the Olympic athletes of Russia. They're not part of, they can't wave the Russian flag. They can't wear anything Russian. They are the Olympic athletes of Russia.
But
they are OAR. That's what they're going as.
I don't understand.
Because they're the ones they're the ones that actually had clean drug tests. So they banned everybody that didn't. And the ones that had clean, they didn't feel like penalizing them. So some of them are allowed to go that had clean drug tests.
That is so, but why not still let him represent Russia?
Because they banned Russia itself. Like, no. Yeah.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes.
Presented by Underwood Jewelers and American Window Products.
On 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Welcome back into Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes. My name is Blythe Brumleve, and I'm joined alongside Donna Murphy and Tyler Devitt. Lauren Brooks is on vacation this week, and before the break, we talked a little bit about Rays baseball, and now we want to get into another baseball story in which the Cubs traded for Yu Darvish and now arguably have 4 opening day starters. And we sort of all know that pitching wins championships, and I know that Tyler is a huge Cubs fan, so he can sort of enlighten us on the status of the Cubs because they seem like the clear World Series favorite. But are there any teams out there that could challenge the Cubs?
I would go with the two that were absolutely in the World Series this year, and I would put both of them as favorites ahead of the Cubs, actually. I'm a little skeptical about the bat situation, although it seems like we got a bunch of talent in Chicago. Houston and New York, I wouldn't sleep on either of them. Houston's super young, and so are the Yankees, and the Yankees are very young, and then you add Giancarlo Stanton. You play in a small ballpark, and both those guys might hit 50 home runs this year. There's a lot of young teams out there. You can't bet against the Dodgers. The Washington Nationals, they're full of talent. We heard Daniel Murphy.
I feel like we say that every year about the Nationals.
So much talent, and when it comes to October, I don't know what happens. The calendar turns to October, and they can't get a win, a playoff series win, that is. No, I like the Cubs' chances, but I wouldn't even say they're the favorites right now. There's a lot of other teams. I mean, the Red Sox, Donna's team, they could go out and get J.D. Martinez tomorrow. I don't know why he hasn't taken their offer. The whole free agency is a little bit strange this offseason in general, but I like my Cubs' chances, but I wouldn't say they're the favorites right now.
What about Aaron Boone managing the Yankees? Do you think it's going to be a disaster, or is it going to work out?
Weird move. I mean, no managerial experience, but baseball seems like it's one of those sports where you don't really have to have any, and if you're kind of a longtime veteran or an announcer like he has been in the booth, he's respected in baseball circles, so I guess that's all that you really need, is just to have that basic respect and be a student of the game while you're playing it.
Pitching changes are very crucial to the game.
It's important, and I'm sure he'll have a veteran-led bench, and his bench coach and hitting coach and pitching coach and all that stuff. So I'm sure he'll surround him with people who are very experienced to kind of offset his lack of experience. So it'll be a fun year in baseball. The game's in a really good place right now. That's absolutely for sure.
Well, there's a lot of young stars that are able to make it fun and interesting.
Right.
Especially with not Stanton anymore. I really liked watching him sort of evolve as a player. He played a little bit for the Suns here in town. Then he went down to the Marlins.
You mean Mike?
Now
when he was Mike?
Yeah,
Mike Stanton.
But now that he's a Yankee, I can't root for him anymore. No, sorry. So
I don't blame you.
We're gonna sort of transition here into it's a good segue, I guess you could say, into a story out of Texas, where a transgender high school wrestler who's 18 years old, was born a girl and now transitioning into becoming a male. And Mac Beggs, he's the transgender teen in Texas, born and raised, but now identifies as a male Mac. He takes weekly testosterone shots, but continues to wrestle against girls until he has his reassignment surgery. He's now getting offers to wrestle in college to compete against men. And some of the colleges, it's not necessarily, my first thought was, oh, okay, well, that's just a stunt by the school, but apparently not. The school has reached out with a full scholarship offer. They promised a great medical facility. And for his credit, Mac welcomes the competition of playing against or wrestling against men and sort of paints this entire situation as being caught in the middle of political debates when all he wants to do is wrestle. Now, as a high school teen, I think this is one hell of a situation to be put in, because you're faced with a lifelong decision that you're making versus a hobby that you're really passionate about. But if you're one of these wrestlers, one of these girl wrestlers that has to go against somebody that is taking testosterone shots, is that really a level playing field?
No, I don't think so at all. And when I first saw this headline, I was like, I kind of don't want to touch this topic.
Right.
But then once you read into the story and you're like, well, how is that fair to the women that are playing right now against you? I just, no.
When I first heard the story, I thought it was a male becoming a female.
Right.
And then I was absolutely like, you cannot do this, absolutely not whatsoever. But if it's a female becoming a male, I was sort of okay with it. Besides the testosterone shots, I think if you're taking...
the testosterone shots is what throws me. It's obviously making you stronger. It's giving you an edge. And I know that I wouldn't want to face up against anybody that is essentially taking the steroid that is going to make you more powerful.
Yeah, and I was doing research because obviously with stories like this, you want to be well versed as much as you can.
Well, it's gonna make you bigger. That's for sure.
Well, apparently, what's the way it sort of works, and I'm gonna quote this on my research, but Joanna Harper, she is a trans athlete, and she said in order for males to compete in women's sports, their testosterone levels have to be under what's called 10 nanomoles per liter. But 90% of female athletes, their testosterone levels are around 3. So if these athletes are making the transition from being male to female, they have to have their testosterone levels under 10 nanomoles for a full year before they're allowed to compete. And even the Olympics, because the Olympics don't have gender testing anymore. They just test your testosterone levels, and that's what area they choose to place you in as far as sports is concerned. But even if you're under 10 nanomoles, then you're still 3 times the level of testosterone than the female athletes are competing in.
It's still not a fair playing field at all.
But what I found really interesting is that this Joanna Harper, she's sort of leading the charge of getting that lowered to 5 and below. But even then, the majority of female athletes only compete between 1 and 3 of these nanomoles, which is it's crazy that we even really have to have this conversation. But it's an evolving need. It's an evolving sort of landscape as far as sports are concerned. I found that it was incredibly fascinating because this Joanna Harper, she also brought up another story about a female athlete in South Africa, and she was dominating her competition, like dominating to the point where her female rivals sent in a complaint that said that they thought that she was a male competing as a woman, and she got her levels was tested. No, she's in fact a woman. They confirmed that, but her testosterone levels were so much higher than a typical woman that that was the reason that she was far exceeding her competition, which I thought was fascinating.
Right. But I guess that's okay.
Yeah, I guess it's almost, when I was doing the research for it, it was almost like taking a step back and like, well, maybe we need to mold sports not necessarily on your gender, but maybe your testosterone levels,
right?
Because that seems to be the main driver behind all of this.
There was, before the NFL honors ceremony a couple weeks ago, during it, they did the, not the Courage Award, but I forget what it was. It was a new award, and they gave it to a young female who is about to go into high school, I believe, and she loves football. And so she knows girls that love football, so she, as a young girl, started her own football league, just all female league.
Nice.
Started it all through, I want to say all through middle school, and got schools involved, and then going to high school, she's getting those involved. She wants to go to college now, and she wants to have, her goal is to have college as a female football sport. And it's amazing to see and to hear her story, and I was so impressed that they gave her the award. But she started this all on her own just because she's like, I love the game. She goes, and listen up, like, women love the game, and we want to play, and we can play. And it was great to see something like that honored. So I'm not surprised. It's just, yeah, like I said, like,
it's
the
a
testosterone level is that's where it's a little sketchy for me.
And I think that's where a lot more research needs to be done, because even with all of the nanomoles and you know 10 to 5 to 3 or whatnot, there was a Dr. Paul Hruz of I know I'm not pronouncing this last name correctly, but Hruz, and he's of Washington University School of Medicine, and he said that the reality is that your hormones, according to your gender that you were born, affects every cell in your body. So despite sort of monitoring testosterone levels, you're still at an extreme competitive advantage, especially if you're a male going into women's sports, because we are seeing more of that. And on this particular news report that I watched, it was something minuscule, like 90 something transgendered male to female athletes were participating in women's sports back in 2009, but that number has grown by like 900% since then. So I wonder if there's an opportunity to be had for a lot of these, I guess, males who might not live up to the competition bar on the male side, and maybe just want to switch sports and just claim that they want to become female and not actually go through the process just for the fact.
I hope it doesn't get to that point.
I think it's not a matter of if, but when a transgender male turned female is going to compete in a women's sport and win. And I don't know how fair it is to the women that are competing in that sport, but I also think that there should be accommodations made.
I
mean, if you want to be an athlete and you want to compete in a sport, you're kind of stuck. Like this Mac kid who, I mean, by all accounts, is doing all the right things and saying all the right things. He's sort of caught in the middle now.
Right. I don't know. There's a lot. There's a lot involved in a lot of that.
Well, Tyler, you were the one who sent us this story. What are your thoughts overall on the Mac situation and then the Olympics not requiring gender testing anymore?
Well, I don't have any thoughts on the Olympics because I haven't watched a single second of it, and I don't really plan on it. There's nothing entertaining to me about the Olympics. It's like sports IV'd into you. You learn about this person's background in 30 seconds and whether their life dream is going to be complete 2 minutes later. So the Olympics doesn't interest me at all. But regarding this whole transgender story, I'm with you. You can't ever go from being a male and then competing in female sports just because the bodies are built differently.
Right.
Especially with wrestling, the hand size and just like different body parts are different. We're obviously built differently than females.
Right.
So I'm with you on that. And the testosterone thing's a little strange. She took such little amount that didn't really factor into like her muscle build or anything like that. But
it's still a steroid at the end of the day, correct?
Essentially.
Right. I don't know if you have to create a separate division for the transgender
maybe like
people.
maybe like a unisex division, or
it might just have to be a flat-out rule that if once you decide to go through that process, you can't compete in male or female. I mean, that might just have to be the reality to the whole situation.
Because it's still such a new thing in sports that and it's like this Dr. Paul Hurst of Washington University School of Medicine said that the reality is that even if you are taking low dosage of testosterone, your hormones, your entire body structure, your entire cell structure is affected by the gender that you were born. And now we might have to sort of expand our definition of what, there are intersex, aka hermaphrodites, which is technically what this South African woman is considered after her hormone testing, is that she's technically now considered a hermaphrodite because she has such high levels of testosterone in her body, even though she was born a woman. Which I think is fat. I mean, all over Mother Nature, you can see examples of species changing sex in order to benefit their overall outcome. But this is when you're talking about, especially a male becoming a woman and then competing in women's sports. I just think it's completely unfair for the rest of the women that have been competing their entire lives in order to have to go up to something that they can't. Biologically, you cannot compete with a male.
I got you.
9 times out of 10, you can't. So
I think there are cases where there are males who are transitioning to be females who are now in MMA, and that's where it gets really tricky for me because it's actually a combat sport. I mean, obviously.
Right.
And to have a former male now transitioning to be a female going up against natural females, that's really tricky for me because that just becomes too dangerous. I mean, in an obviously overly dangerous sport.
Right. It's a lot. I don't know how to sort of navigate this as far as like sports is concerned, but I think talking more about uncomfortable stories like this, I think is very important because it is going to be a changing landscape. Because like I said, it's not a matter of if, but when a male wins even wins a gold medal in the Olympics when he was born a male and transitioned into a female. It's bound to happen.
I hear you. Yeah. I don't doubt it. Well, we have one more segment to go and actually quite a few more stories to chat about, and we including what a school tells 6th graders that they cannot say no to. Very interesting. But don't forget, we do have that Peterbrook Chocolate Hill giveaway. All you have to do is text into 641-1010. Give us your worst Valentine's date story or worst date overall. And we're going to let you drown your sorrows in some lovely Peterbrook chocolate. More coming up next on Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes.
Hello, sports fans. Dan Hickey. I'm not an X's and O's guy, right?
Caster
I'm a motivator. Weekday mornings on
Caster Semenya. That was the South African athlete. But you sort of feel bad for her because she's competing in a women's sports, born a woman competing.
Right. It's all
and
crazy.
just dominating, and then you got your female rivals questioning your gender because you're murdering them so bad in competition. And she can't help that she had more testosterone than them.
I mean, what do you think? You think the Williams sisters have a little bit more testosterone than all the others?
No, I don't think so. I mean,
They're just dominant.
Yeah. I think they had a dad who trained them every day of their life in order to be the best.
Just like her mom.
She's built like a brick house.
Yeah. So is her mom.
Oh yeah, I've never seen her mom. Obviously with her dad. Her dad's always been, he's sort of like a Lonzo Ball type.
Did you see what? See what he said?
Please donate during this time of
Tyler, did you see what Lamar said?
I tried to defend him for a little bit.
Yes! By the way, he's not signing with the Lakers next year. Isn't he under contract for more than 1 year? When you are a rookie, don't you have a rookie contract?
Lonzo's got to have a talk with his dad.
No, you know what Lonzo needs to do is come out and be like, I'm not talking to my dad anymore, and he's no longer allowed to say anything.
He's got to take that man's step.
You do.
He's got to be able to tell his dad, shut up.
Right.
And he's got to be able to tell the media, if you talk to my dad before you talk to me, or if you ask me about anything that my dad comments on, I'm not talking to y'all no more.
Right.
He's got to be able to step up to his dad.
Look, she's built just like her. Look at That's her mom.
Oh, damn. She's pretty.
She looks just like her, doesn't she?
Mm-hmm.
She's a brick house, too.
Just like the epitome of physical fitness. Like, there's not an ounce of body fat on her.
I know. It's ridiculous.
It's like all muscle.
You know the actress Blake Lively?
Mm-hmm.
I saw something she tweeted out that made me really happy. Because usually you hear about everybody in Hollywood how, you know, they have a baby and then three months later they're back to their normal self, you know. So she tweeted out a picture of her trainer, her and her trainer, and she said, you know, thank you so much for getting me back in shape. She said 10 months to put the weight on, 14 months to take it off.
Holy shit.
I'm like, bravo. Like, bravo, you know? Like, thanks for admitting it.
I've heard that girls will go right after they give birth, they'll go right in and get a tummy tuck. Like, immediately after. Because they're already under, they've already just, they're already ready to get the surgery,
Right.
I guess. And that's how they get back to their fit bodies so quickly.
I did, when I got into the birthing room with JT, I had them get a scale and weigh me. So I knew what I needed to lose. They're like, this is the first. No pregnant woman has given us a question about weigh me, please. I'm like, I need to know what my finishing weight is right now because I need to know what I need to get down to.
Right.
But I did it all by myself. So.
Nice. It's all about diet.
I'll do the same damn thing. You would think so, but all I ate were Oreos and Three Musketeers, so nope.
Did you try to keep up with your fitness while you were pregnant?
Oh, I couldn't. Not with JT. Because he sat so low the whole time. I could barely walk.
Damn.
All I could do, the only way I could swim was frog. That was it. I could just frog it. Because you can't do this.
Did you ever feel like the baby was just going to fall out of you?
Yeah.
That would be my fear if you're swimming the frog.
It won't, but yeah.
You're just going to like look back and there's going to be a baby in the pool.
No, I just knew. I'm like, you're never going to come out. Like, because he was a week late anyway.
I think I told you guys about it, but the chick who was in my TRX class, who was pregnant, and we went to the same class for months together, and then she finally got to her due date. 3 days after her due date, she was still in the TRX class.
That's impressive.
She was right next to me and doing the moves better than anybody else in the class, squatting better than anybody else.
Some girls can.
I'm like, if your water breaks right next to me, because that's how. I mean, she was nothing but she was all baby.
Yeah, and some girls can. I can't.
Am I doing this one or are you doing this one?
I got it.
Okay.
What are we gonna start with?
6th graders? Or
Yeah,
Tebow?
let's start with that one.
Or the mom?
That mom.
That was hilarious.
You're listening to Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes.
Presented by Underwood Jewelers and American Window Products.
On 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Welcome back to Helmets and Heels, built by Dreamfinders Homes. We are on the final leg of our wonderful show, and Hacker After Dark will be coming up next. So Blythe gave us a wonderfully odd story, and the title is "School Tells 6th Graders They Can't Say No When Asked to Dance." And so obviously you see that headline, and that's a definite clickbait headline. So you do, and it's exactly what it says it is. They have a policy in which 6th grade girls cannot say no when boys ask them to dance.
Ridiculous. Apparently they've had it for a while, too.
I don't...
It said it's always been this way. What?
Why is it? Is it just 6th graders? Is it 7th and 8th graders? Is it just 6th graders?
In the video of the article, and I can send out a tweet for you guys to go and read along and watch the video, but the woman says that it was a news story, and that they also mentioned that it was an elementary school. So I'm thinking that the 6th grade is like the highest level of this elementary school, and they always have a Valentine's Day dance, so I'm thinking that this is like their final hurrah.
Gotcha.
So maybe it's like the final elementary school dance before they go on to middle school.
I mean,
but it's in Canesville Elementary School in West Haven, Utah.
And the Utah mom that talks about it, obviously she has the daughter there, and she says, my daughter keeps coming to me saying I can't say no to a boy. That's the message kids are getting, and that's
in today's climate.
It's horrifying
with sexual harassment.
It's absolutely,
you can't say no to a boy.
Right? It's absolutely horrifying. And do you know what happens from 6th grade to 8th grade? Everybody's going through puberty. Nobody likes themselves, and nobody likes each other. It is the worst part of your life.
Yeah.
I
Middle school,
hated
for sure.
middle school. I absolutely hate it. If I can homeschool my son for those 3 years, I would, because that time of your year, that's when you lose all your self-esteem. That's when everything goes wrong.
Your body's changing. You don't know what to do.
And everybody's going through it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So you feel awkward, and everybody's awkward, but no one is able to be like, look, you're awkward, I'm awkward, who cares? You don't have that mentality at that age.
It was one of our managers here, Chad. He mentioned about in regards to this story, and he had an interesting perspective. And he said that the courage required to ask a girl to dance and the possible rejection is good for character building of young boys, and it's an important life lesson that should be taught to boys and girls that is almost being taken away from these kids.
Yeah, and I saw that point, and I'm going to raise Chad another point, and this is my point. I was never asked to a dance.
Oh.
I was told, hey, so-and-so would like for you to go ask him to the dance by his friends. So what do?
You didn't write a little note?
No, I go running up to the bleachers and go, hey, do you want to go with me to the dance? And in front of all his friends, he goes, no. Yeah. So that's what I deal with. You want girls dealing with that crap? No. No.
And it's traditionally thought that the boy is always supposed to ask the girl out, and the girl, from the time that you're very young, you sort of have a lot of options to maybe choose from,
right.
And you're used to rejecting boys.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this learning experience from the boys is being taken from them.
I just don't. I can see.
I don't even know why I'm calling it a learning experience.
I can see from one point is, there's always going to be that one guy that either gets bullied, and there's a one girl that gets bullied, or whatever it is, and awkward, and
who doesn't get a Valentine on
right.
Valentine's
And
Day,
so,
or something like a Ralph Wiggum.
Right. So
Ralph Wiggum from The Simpsons.
Oh, okay.
I choose you.
I'm like, is that a personal? You calling out someone? So there's going to be that person, and you want everybody to be included. You don't want somebody to be left out. That I understand. But to have a policy that no girl is allowed to say no.
Mm-mm.
Here's a quote from Lane Finlay with the Weber School District. She says, it is a rule that's meant to be inclusive and teach kindness. Quote, please be respectful and be polite. We want to promote kindness, and so we want you to say yes when someone asks you to dance.
Okay.
How nice is that?
How about you give them a polite way to say no? How about no thank you? That's how you politely say no. No thank you.
Prior to the dance, which is voluntary, students are told to fill out a card selecting 5 people they want to dance with.
Oh my God.
And the administration says that if there's someone on the card you feel uncomfortable with, the student is encouraged to speak up.
Yeah.
What a crock of
BS.
BS.
This is, yes, every male that's growing up, going through puberty, needs to be rejected. It puts hair on your nuts, so to say.
I want to meet the guy that made up this rule. I want to know who hurt him.
I don't think I've heard
who
that
hurt
one.
him? Who turned him down for a dance, and now he's making this rule for his elementary school?
I mean, it's simple fact. I would be like, you know what? You're not going to that dance.
If
Sorry.
I was,
I'm saying no to the dance.
If I was
overall.
a parent and I had a small girl and they had this rule, don't go to the dance.
Nope. Simple as that.
It'll just be an all-boy party.
Yeah, we'll go to our own party. We're going to start our own dance.
It's actually really ridiculous, and the audacity that you're going to have to require a girl to say yes, especially in a world where all of these sexual harassment stories are coming out of the damn
right, with
woodwork.
the Me Too movement, everything like that. Yeah, you can't have...
Have you ever turned a boy down whenever he asked you to dance?
I told you, they never asked me.
Oh, yeah.
I asked and I got turned down.
Oh.
So screw all you all. I don't care.
You got some hair on your chest.
You know what happens? Those same boys are the ones that chase you in senior year, and that's
they
when
punch
you're like,
you.
Bye.
They punch you to say that they like you.
Yeah.
I had a boy push me down in 7th grade. I still got a scar on my wrist. And wouldn't you know it, when I hit adulthood, that's when he's trying to ask me out.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. When you're a senior in high school, that's when they chase you, and you're like, oh no. I remember that moment.
Punching me.
I may not remember a lot, but that moment sticks with me, and I remember that. Kent. Yeah, Kent. I'm talking to you. I just called your name out. He has no idea who I am probably anymore. Anyways, But yeah, that's tough. I mean, getting humiliated in front of the school is something.
I feel like it's a valuable learning experience. I mean, you don't want that for somebody, but you have to be able to deal with rejection. You have to be able to deal with not getting what you want.
Let me guess.
That's a life lesson.
Is the same school not giving out awards? Does everybody get a trophy?
Probably. Does everybody get a participation trophy?
Probably, right?
Yes.
You're great. Here, have a trophy. It's ridiculous. Anyways, let's talk about somebody else who wants attention. All right, so National Signing Day, which was covered phenomenally by our station here last week.
Hacker's great with that coverage.
Hacker, I absolutely, I'm telling you, when he does the high school post-game show, it is the best time I've ever heard Hacker. He is the best on that show because he's so passionate and so knowledgeable, and it's so enjoyable to listen to. However, when we get to this mom who should actually be best friends with LeVar Ball, is mine. This poor guy, Jacob Copeland, who committed to the Gators, and on national TV, obviously sat there, said he committed, and his mom decides to get up and walk out because she's mad.
Now, for those of you who have never seen like a sort of a national signing day coverage, what he's doing, Jacob Copeland, he's sitting down. He's a wide receiver. He's sitting down at the table, and he has 3 hats to choose from. It's an Alabama hat, a Tennessee hat, and then a Florida hat.
Right.
And his mom is sitting next to him wearing Alabama
and Tennessee.
And when he picks up the Florida hat and puts it on, the look she gets, she starts grabbing her purse. She puts it on the table. I mean, this is all on like live national coverage. And she walks away from him, giving him a look like, I birthed you, and this is what you do to me. Now, she did later come back and give her son a hug, and you know, one of the most important days of his life. He's emotional, then she gets emotional.
She already ruined it. You already made it about you, lady.
It was funny because the kid, Jacob, he sent out a tweet later on, and he said, and what did he say about his mom?
If you know her, this was her.
Yeah, she's
put on a show.
Yeah, she put on a show for everybody.
Yeah, no, it's not funny.
I thought it was hilarious.
I didn't find it one bit funny. I thought it very LeVar Ball. I'm like, why are you doing this? This is not about you, lady. This is about your son.
She did birth him. She did probably raise him and drive him to all the practices. And maybe one request in life was that you pick one of these 2 schools that I'm wearing and not shun me by picking the Gators. And he picked the one school that she wasn't wearing.
No, it's not. You gotta... Man, you are not in the spotlight here. It is all, this day is about your son. It is not about you. You need to be in the background and sit proud and go, that's awesome. I can't believe he gets to pick out of all of these schools.
Yeah.
You don't sit there and be like, if you pick that school, I swear I'm walking out of this.
Well, I think that's why she came back and gave him a hug. Is that she realized the error of her ways, but she does get a little bit of a lot of credibility, or a lot of credit, because she is probably the one that sacrificed a lot. Like, parents are asked so much to support their kids as far as financially and emotionally when it comes to sports. You know, they're the ones getting off of work, picking their kids up, driving them to practice, hanging out at the field for hours after a practice, driving them home, and doing the same thing every day for, 18 years?
I agree. I don't know her story. I don't know if she's a single mom. I don't know if she's, married and they both have respective jobs. I don't know the story growing up. But all I know is that at that moment she made it about herself and not about her son. And that bothered me. This is not about you. This is about him.
If I'm the mom and say that he has 3, this probably won't even happen in the NFL, but if you have 3 teams to choose from, and I'm a Jaguars fan, and there's a Patriots hat on the table, and then there's like a Titans hat on the table, if my kid picks a Titans hat over all the other hats, I'm getting up and walking out too. I say, you betrayed me.
Look, I already have a problem with media sensationalizing National Signing Day. These are high school kids.
Right.
High school kids. Do not put them on TV for this. They are not ready for this in no way. Yet, have they earned it over the course of these 4 years they played this school? Sure. But it doesn't mean that we have to have 24-hour coverage on ESPN to see this, I don't know, and I know
Youth
we're big
sports-
with it. Like, I know Gridiron
Right.
is fantastic, Gridiron Now, and Hacker is great, but I, as a mom, I wouldn't want my son being up there and be like, well, I get all this attention. No, son, you sit down. You haven't earned this attention
Well, youth
yet.
sports is a $1 billion industry. I was
Right.
watching this thing on Real Sports on HBO, and they were talking about how in the middle of towns and in the middle of nowhere, that these facilities, these mass athletic facilities,
Yeah.
are starting to be built and starting to be taken over, and these small towns are being transformed into athletic meccas almost,
Right.
where you have, it's like 16 or 30 some odd soccer fields, and then you have the facilities in order for flag football and all of these other youth sports. It's becoming a $1 billion business all across the country.
And the one here in Jacksonville I know that's big, especially in Nocatee, is I-9 Sports. And they're huge. I see them there almost every night, definitely on the weekends, on all of the fields that we have. Flag football is big right now. That's all you see. You see multiple teams taking up all of the parks for flag football, and it's all I-9 Sports. And so it's huge, and it should be. It's great, and I would love to have my son play every sport possible just to have that experience. But when it comes time for that, when they're growing up, becoming a man, and they're gonna spread their wings and pick a school, it is not about you, lady.
It could have been a good learning experience for her too, because I think she realized the error of her ways, came back, gave him a hug, and maybe she did say to herself, like, and I could see myself in that moment acting the same way if my son picked a team that I did not like.
I mean, I'm telling you, if she didn't learn anything, then this is going to be the next LeVar Ball. This is going to be the Mrs.
No,
LeVar
she won't.
that we're gonna
She's
see.
far. I think she's far from it, because she came back, she gave him a hug, and she was happy. She was ultimately happy.
Well,
but in that moment, she's getting her purse, and you getting the death
You should be
glare.
happy he's getting a free ride to a college. I mean, dang, I don't care where he goes.
I guess so.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. We had a lot of fun, and I know Lauren is having a fantastic time in Puerto Rico. She is enjoying herself, having some drinks and drinking up that sunshine. Thank you for listening. Hacker After Dark is coming up next, obviously with Hacker and Andrew Gibson, and we will be back next week, same time, same place, for Tyler Devitt, our wonderful and amazing producer, who will be doing the TV12 diet sometime soon. He will let us know when from live from Leave. I'm Donna Murphy. You guys enjoy your Tuesday night and go out and watch the Winter Olympics. Pair skating right now.
Bye, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back here next Tuesday night, 7 to 9 p.m. And just be sure to hit that subscribe button, and you'll get the notification whenever we schedule another live event. But definitely every Tuesday, 7 to 9 p.m. Thanks for watching. Go Jacks.